In the last part, I drained the oil, but I did not remove the oil filter, so we're gonna go ahead and start with that and getting under the car. Now, my oil filter isn't in the greatest place under the car, and you just kind of gotta reach up there and hope you can grab it. I also don't have the car jacked up that high either. Not too bad right now. Watch out for that puddle of oil, because I didn't sit nothing there. Now I gotta hope it's not on there too tight. Yeah, I really kind of don't like my oil filter spot, especially because the axle's in the way, where I gotta reach my arm up in there, and it's on there pretty tight. I'm gonna need pliers. Now it's hand loose, and I'm just getting it out. Oh, there we go, just came off. All right, after getting the oil all over myself, finally got the oil filter out. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the sandwich plate on the back of that. Right here's our sandwich plate, went with blue. And one of these adapters right here will go in there like, oh wait, I'm an idiot. The adapter will go in there like that. One of these will be able to screw into the place where the oil filter screws on, and then we'll screw the oil filter onto this adapter. Got the new oil filter right here, and we're gonna test which one actually threads onto it. I think we got it first try. A little rough, and then it'll go like just like this. That's why I called a sandwich plate, because it's gonna be sandwiched between the engine and the oil filter. Also, just to be safe, we're gonna put some oil on this rubber lining of the sandwich plate, because you usually do it for the oil filter, but to be safe, I'm gonna do both. We actually gotta screw this into the sandwich plate before we put it back there. Tighten this up a little bit more. Now, hopefully this line reaches all the way back there to where we need it to. It's actually gonna be pretty hard. All right, put it down there. So now I'm gonna check under the car to see if I got it in a good spot. All right, creeping down here. Not saying that I'm a creep, I'm just on a creeper. All right, where you at, sandwich plate? Oh, I think I actually did a pretty good job where I put it through. And now that I got the oil feed to the sandwich plate all hooked up, now it's a pretty tight space. Ain't no much really like slack left in this line. Basically the perfect size for the hose. And I did keep this a little loose because we're gonna, I forget what it's called. We have to make sure that oil is going to the turbo, so we're gonna take this hose off when we're ready to start it, put it in a bottle, prime the turbo, that's what it's called. Right now we're gonna hook up the dump tube, so we got our gasket and our bolts. I would like to do a hood dump, but honestly, you can see it's not really sitting flush against the wastegate if we were to do a hood dump, so we're just gonna face it down. All right, got a ratchet and wrench to speed things up, because honestly, I'll be here all day if I tried to use my hand. All right, got those bolts tight. This made things a lot easier. Now I just gotta go in my baggie, lock nut washer in the nut, screw my nut on. Now, there is limited space because of the wastegate. So hopefully I can fit my little nut on there.
You don't want your nut to go all over the place. Make sure you keep it right there. Keep it right there.
Now that I got the feed line all set up, I gotta start working on setting the return line up. I actually went to Harbor Freight and picked up some of these black oxide, silver, and don't know what that word is, drill bit set. So this is what we're gonna use to drill the hole in the oil pan, and we need to use the 11/16 bit. And then right here, we got our like tap and die kit. Go ahead and open this up for y'all. We're gonna need to create our own threads with a 1/2 inch NPT. And I actually picked up a different bung for the oil pan to where I can actually thread it into the oil pan like this, and then have this part to thread our return line on, because in part one, I told people that I was originally gonna use this, and they told me that this is for a welding bung, and I don't have anything to weld it, and I don't know anybody that could weld. So went ahead and picked up this one, so this will work perfect for what we're trying to do. So let's go ahead and open this package of our drill bits. It's funny how the both things that I needed came in like wooden boxes, but they actually look kind of cool in my opinion. Get that 11/16 bit. Oh, it's in wrap too. Make sure we grab the right one. Grab this one. Should have the marking on it too, yeah. I don't know if you can see through the plastic baggie, but it says it on there too. Also guys, if you were interested in how much this stuff costs, this set of drill bits right here was $60, and this little 3-piece tap and die set was $20. Not too bad. Now I just gotta find my drill. I'm actually using my dad's drill. I don't have my own drill. Have lots of tools, but that's one of the things I haven't bought yet. Also, I just got some advice from my dad. We're actually gonna use a smaller drill bit first and work our way up to that 11/16. And I'm really not applying any pressure with this drill bit, honestly. If you're in the market for drill bits, and now obviously I'm not sponsored or nothing, but these Milwaukee drill bits right here, picked up from Home Depot, these just go right through it with zero pressure. Also, one problem with drilling this oil pan is we're dealing with lots of metal shavings. I heard if you put some like grease on the drill bit, some of the metal shavings stick, but I didn't decide to do that. So in between, I'm actually gonna be vacuuming up some of these metal shavings, because I don't want these everywhere. It's a pretty good hole. Now we can go up to the next drill bit. All right, now we got the 11/16 on the drill, and my dad's actually gonna do it. We're actually pretty close to the bottom of the oil pan. We cut it really close, but we're still gonna have enough room to tap those threads, so let's just go ahead and do this last drill bit. All right, that's the last hole cut. Now we're gonna go grab our thread kit and get that threaded. teeny bit more. We don't need a ton more. 3, 4. I'll do one more for good luck. Just threaded it a good amount through. Now we're just gonna take it out and start testing this. You do wanna test this every now and then while you're tapping the threads. And I've never tapped threads before, but I watched a couple videos and yeah, you don't wanna just go all the way through and then you think you're good and then you mess everything up. All right, threading on easy so far. We're gonna unscrew this and put some thread tape on there first and then thread this back in and make sure it's all tight, and then we can start putting our RTV seal on the oil pan because it doesn't take a metal gasket. And then I'll hook this up and then we can hook that return line up. Now we got the RTV silicone gasket because it doesn't take the metal gasket, and we're just gonna go ahead and lay this down. Haven't ever done this before either, so hopefully this turns out good. This ain't gonna be perfect. It's terrible. There's had to be a worse one than this. Also guys, if you have any advice on how to lay down a rubber gasket like this or a silicone gasket, just drop a comment down below to give me some tips if we ever do this again.
You're gonna have to do it again, all right.
All right, putting the oil pan back on, press it up there, and now I'm just threading on a nut.
Oh, you're pretty good at fingering nuts.
Oh yeah, I'm really experienced with nuts. You wanna learn? Because I heard you're a visual learner. It's the next day now, guys, and I got the oil pan all set up on there, and I also started messing with the return line, so let me go ahead and show you all that. So as you can see, the oil pan is on there. Bolts and nuts are back on there. See the gasket popping a little bit out, but that's no problem. And here's where I started working on the return line. I had to screw this fitting onto the braided cable, and then I also had to do the same thing on the other side, screw it into the turbo. And honestly, while I was setting that up, my biggest worry was really that it had no kinks in the hose, because if you have kinks in the hose, then your line is gonna get clogged and your turbo is gonna go bye-bye. So, and I'm also gonna go over real quick how I actually did that. Now, I was fortunate enough to have 2 braided cables. This one right here that hasn't been cut, and this one that I did cut a few times, because if you've never done this before, which I haven't, so you can make mistakes and still have more hose to work with after. So I honestly thought I was gonna have to use this one, but just one was enough for me to learn how to do it. I originally was trying to use these ones that came in another kit that I had. Whenever I would try to thread it on the hose, as you can see, these threads are like a little bit different. They look like normal threads, but the one that actually ended up working looked more like this. I don't know if you could really see in there, but they're much larger threads. They don't look like regular threads, if you know what I mean. So, and now that I got the return line set up, I'm gonna start working on the downpipe. I got my little cut wheel right here, and I got some tape wrapped around it, and we have to cut it because we have some fitment issues, so we're gonna have to cut it and then get the rest of the exhaust welded. So let's get to cutting. Got our helmet, safety first, guys. All right, guys, I didn't have any protection on my arm, so that was pretty stupid. So we're just rinsing some of the metal off. That actually went a lot better than I thought. So we're actually gonna go ahead and look at our cut and see how good we did. Also, guys, I forgot to mention, Flash Shark did send me this downpipe. Now, it would have fit regularly, so it wasn't an issue with them. Just the way I had the turbo, because I flipped it, the downpipe would have been going that way because of the side I had the turbo on, when it's regularly supposed to be on this side and it would go out that way. So we just had to cut it, and then we're gonna have to re-weld it to face the other way. And if you guys want anything off their website, you can use my code JK15 for 15% off. They really saved me on this video. I was looking everywhere for a downpipe for my car, couldn't find one that worked, and then Flash Shark hit me up and sent me this one. So this one works great. And now we're gonna go ahead and see if our cut made us have more room. And now off rip, it doesn't look like it'll go on there still, so we might end up having to do more modifications. Yeah, it seems like our AC line is still in the way from getting it on, whether we go this way or this way. Seems like we would have to cut it about right there, and even then, I still don't know how the rest of the piping would be done. So I think we're actually gonna have to end up deleting the AC because this line, we're gonna put this aside for now, but we're still gonna go in and try to get this car started, so we gotta put our radiator on and fill it up with oil and things like that. Now, I already got one radiator fan on, as you can see. I just gotta cut the end of these ties, and then we'll start working on putting the second one on. And the radiator fans actually comes with some things to mount it, so you don't just have to use regular zip ties. And I'm gonna show you how I put this on. First, we got these 4 little bracket things, and they just pretty much just slide on right on there. Like I said, 4 of these. Also, in case you were wondering, these are 12-inch slim radiator fans. I was gonna end up going with like 10 or something shorter, but if you know these Civics, they're common for overheating, so I didn't wanna have too small of a fan. And then these things slide on the back just like a zip tie. There we go. And then we just got one left. All right, both fans are on. Now we can go ahead and slide this radiator in. We also did a little bit of wiring. Now it's a bit tacky. It's really just electrical tape, so hopefully the current is still good and hopefully the connectors reach. Getting it in place. That seems about right. And And also, I'm gonna sit the car down flat when we fill it up with oil and coolant, just so everything is level and even and we don't overfill anything or underfill. All right, think we got it to the right level. So screw that cap back on, start filling the coolant. We got the feed line in a bottle right there. And we took the fuel pump relay off. So now we're gonna go ahead and crank it and wait till we see some oil coming out of that bottle. Then we can hook the line back up and actually start it. No. That's oil.
Oh, it's pissing. It's going everywhere.